All right, what's going on, everybody? We're here with finally my actual final mock draft of the 2026 offseason. This one will be with trades, so this is going to be more of an in-depth, like what I actually think will happen. It's really hard to predict trades and whatnot and stuff like, which teams will move up, which teams are willing to move down, because there'll always be one trade partner, but there has to be two to tango. So we're going to get started with the only one that I know that I will get correct here is Fernando Mendoza. And it's just like this is the consensus pick because that's just what's going to happen. Usually we know what the number one pick is going to be going into the draft. 2022 is an exception to that rule, but we all know that Fernando Mendoza is the best quarterback prospect. The Raiders need quarterback. They've been doing extensive research on Mendoza. He met with Tom Brady and such. So yeah, there's almost no doubt in my mind that Fernando Mendoza will be the pick as I transition my screen over here. So at number two, this is where the draft really begins. There's been chatter around the league that the Jets will actually use their number two pick on edge David Bailey here. I've been mocking Arvell Reese to them most recently, but it's been reported today that the feeling almost unanimously amongst GMs in the NFL is that the Jets will go David Bailey at number two. I think that the smarter play would be Arvell Reese for the upside, but David Bailey isn't a bad choice, and that's what we'll go for here. At number two, the Jets will take David Bailey, who is a phenomenal pass rusher, probably the best in the draft outside of Ruben Bain. And the only concern I have with Bailey is, can he be a three down lineman? Can he be one of those players that play every down? Or will he be a situational pass rusher? Will he just be limited to being, designated pass rusher? So that's my concern here. Here at the Cardinals here, this is where I'm going to put my first trade. The Cardinals, they don't need to stick and pick here. They can trade back and accumulate draft picks. So I think that I'm going to use this pick to have a team needy of defense trade up, and I'm going to have it be Dallas here for the third overall pick, and this will give them right here both. I think this would work straight up. I don't think the compensation is too important, but 12 and 20 here for 3 seems about fair. We'll give that. You see the value there, and we'll have them take Arvell Reese here, who is a phenomenal linebacker prospect. They could also go Sonny Styles. I don't think that would be the case, but for David Bailey and Arvell Reese to go back to back here, it'll be good for the edge rush class. I think those will be the only two true edge prospects to go in the top 10. But yeah, a trade up here makes sense for Dallas if they want to jump the teams like Washington, Cleveland, and the Giants, who could very well take defenders. They will have their pick at Arvell Reese or Sonny Styles if they trade up. So we get here to the Titans at number 4, and for me, I think that this is a home run pick. Jeremiah Love is the pick for me here. I think he's just the best player in this draft, flat out. It's between him and Caleb Downs. And I think that the Titans need to do what they can to help out their young quarterback in Cam Ward. Cam Ward's not allowed to have a bad game anymore after those pictures the Titans posted of him in construction uniform. Yeah, it could get bad. But yeah, that's going to be my pick there at 4. I'd be surprised if they go elsewhere if the board plays out like this. Maybe they could go Ruben Bain. I don't see it. But here at number 5 for the Giants, I'm going to go Sonny Styles. It seems like they like him as a prospect, and I think he's worthy of a top 5 pick. Despite being an off-ball linebacker, I think that he's just that good at what he does to where you could justify him in the top 5. The top 10 is pretty much a lock for him, but if he is there for the taking and the Giants have another pick at 10, why even risk one of the teams in between taking him, or even trading up, a team trading up for Sonny Styles if the Giants were to pass on him? I don't think that they would take that chance. And at number 5, Sonny Styles will be the pick. And here for the Browns, it's just going to be the same thing for me. Carnell Tate. Carnell Tate is the best wide receiver prospect, and I think that they heavily need to work on that wide receiver room. I don't believe in Jerry Jeudy all that much. It's would be wise for them to just go ahead, take Carnell Tate, and worry about the rest later. They're not going to take quarterback in this spot, especially with them having a few young quarterbacks on the roster. We're not going to entertain the idea that they start Deshaun Watson, because I genuinely think that would be a poverty franchise decision. But yeah. And here at 7, with Washington, you could go a number of different directions here. You could go receiver, you could take Caleb Downs here, or you can go edge. And what I ultimately decided to go with here for this final mock draft, I would go Jordan Tyson here. This is a Jordan Tyson spot for me. He is, in my opinion, the most explosive of the receivers in this class. Yes, he has the injury issues, but if the doctors clear him, it only takes one team to fall in love with him. And if you look at the Washington receiver core, it's bad outside of Terry McLaurin. So yeah, I would definitely err on the side of caution here and bolster that receiver core so that your young quarterback in Jaden Daniels has somebody to throw to other than Terry McLaurin. And that opens up here for the New Orleans Saints. They could go a number of different directions here, but I think the most sensible here is to take the best cornerback in the draft in Mansur Delane and just go get a good player. That's probably the best thing that they could do. Just go out and get Mansur Delane. Make sure that your secondary starts to rebuild. You could go wide receiver here, but the top 2 have already been taken, and I don't think Mekhi Lemon would particularly interest the Saints with him being a slot receiver mostly. So yeah, I would go Mansur Delane here, get a lockdown corner, and just help that defense. You may go edge in the 2nd or 3rd round. I don't even know if they have the picks to do that. But yeah, the Saints would love to have this guy and keep him relatively local. So coming from LSU, Mansur Delane would be a great pick for them. And for the Chiefs, I think they would fall in love here with Caleb Downs. Caleb Downs is, to me, the best prospect in this class, and positional value may have him fall here. He could fall as far as to the Jets at 16, and I think that that's crazy, even though he's the best player in the draft. I get it. Safeties aren't highly coveted when it comes to positional value. I don't care. He's a good player. He should be drafted as such. And we get here to the Giants, who they could have gone with Caleb Downs there if he made it to their pick. And they probably would have gone Jordan Tyson if he made it to this pick. And this is an interesting spot because there's a lot of ways you could go with this pick. Dylan Thieneman is an intriguing prospect here. I would err on the side of caution here and say that the receiver run really continues with Mekhi Lemon. They look to be going for an approach to where they're going to be going out and looking for a receiver to get next to Malik Neighbors. They've been tied to Jordan Tyson, but I don't think that makes it exclusively what they would do. So I think Mekhi Lemon makes sense for them. And here for the New Orleans or the Miami Dolphins, I think that what makes most sense here would be to go Spencer Fano, because he gives you that flexibility of being able to play tackle or guard. And I think that what they really need is a guard. And you need to give help to Malik Willis. If you're not going to give him help when it pertains to receivers, which, they traded away Jalen Waddle, they are going into the offseason with their wide receiver one being, I believe, Malik Washington. Yeah, it's a dire situation over there. But if you're not going to help them in the receiver room, help them up front. Spencer Fano is an amazing pick here. I would be surprised uh, if they go any fancy position like receiver or, definitely not running back. I can see them maybe going corner, but Mansur Lane's gone here. So yeah, I think Spencer Fano is the smart pick here. And at number 12, I think the Cardinals are happy with where the board fell for them right here. They got to trade down, get extra picks, and they still get the guy they probably would have taken at number 3, which is Francis Maui Noah. And you know, this is an interesting spot for me because Maui Noah is a great tackle prospect. It's just I don't know if I can see any of these teams except the Browns going tackle, specifically right tackle in the first round. So yeah, um, his range is all the way from 3 maybe to 13, 14. But yeah, I think that the smart pick here is Maui Noah. And if you're the Cardinals here, you're really happy with this outcome because you got to trade down and still get your guy. And that brings up the Rams here at 13. I think that this is a trade. I think that this is a trade between them and Detroit. Detroit, they see how the board has fallen, but the interesting thing here is I think their guy is still on the board, but he would be taken at 14. So the Lions trading up from 17 to 13 makes sense. I guess you would give up 118 and a 27 first or third. Maybe even just, yeah, I think the compensation I'll go with is a 2027 second. So yeah. And maybe, yeah, second. So I think even though the Lions give up more value, let's try that again. And that trade has been accepted. So the Lions move up here and they go get their guy, which, I know a lot of people might not agree with me, but I think their guy in this draft is Vega Ioane. He's just got that Dan Campbell feel to him, doesn't he? The Lions need offensive line. A lot of people have been saying they need left tackle. They need left tackle. That is true, but they also need left guard. Left guard was a massive issue for them in the latter part of last year. If they feel that the best offensive lineman in this draft class is Vega Ioane, I wouldn't see them hesitating to trade up ahead of Baltimore, who is telegraphed as needing an interior offensive lineman. So, yeah, I think that this is the first time where we see an aggressive trade up in the teens to where the Lions move up specifically to vex the Baltimore Ravens, who come up here and I feel like they're pretty okay sticking and picking here, despite their guy being on. They'll take Ruben Bain here. Pass rusher is always a coveted position. You can never have too many pass rushers. Nnamdi Madubuike, it's been reported that he has surgery this week that is, supposedly going to fix the issue. Don't care. I think that the best case scenario here is you err on the side of caution and pick up a really good pass rusher who may be the best pass rusher in this whole draft class. So yeah, that's where I'm going to go at 14. And at 15, it's going to be the same thing for me. Kenyon Sadiq. There's been talks about corner. There's been talks about edge. I think that the best thing here is for them to go pick up an elite tight end prospect. I don't know if I would say elite, but a very good one in Kenyon Sadiq, who is an elite athlete. I will say that. An elite athlete who showed out at the combine. So yeah, that's going to be my pick there. 16 here for the Jets. Jermod McCoy. Jermod McCoy is, in my opinion, the most polarizing prospect in this draft class. I think he's got the best tape of anyone at the cornerback position from 2024, but he didn't play all of 2025. And there's been reports that that fact could very well make him fall from the first round, which I don't see, but it is possible. So if that is the case, Jermod McCoy is a polarizing prospect. If he gets to the second round, I would be banging the table for my team to trade up for him. But yeah, first round for me, he's a first round talent. So I would take him here. And this brings up the Rams again, who traded down and get Monroe Freeling. You can go many different ways here. They just need a tackle for the future. And I think Monroe Freeling is the best remaining of the bunch. So yeah, I would be very happy if I'm Rams fans here. You get a little bit of value in the trade. You only move down a few spots, you don't move below any division rivals, and you still get a really good prospect. And that brings up the Vikings at 18, who will be taking Dylan Thieneman if he is there. And I think that he's probably closer to Caleb Downs than people may think. They're two very different safeties, but when it pertains to uh impact on the defense, Dylan Thieneman can really heavily impact the right defense the same way that Caleb Downs can. And I think that it would be a great pick for them to go out and get Thieneman to replace Harrison Smith. They've had some, you know, issues with their DB room for years now. But Dylan Thieneman could be a solid foundation. And we get here to the Panthers at 19. I like Mark Cooper Jr. for them. It would be a very good pick. And I think that that's the one to where if this happens, I would be like, good on you, Carolina. You go and get another weapon for Bryce Young. Maybe you could go get another safety in Emmanuel McNeil Warren, but I think that Omar Cooper is a good player, and I would take him here at 19 if I were Carolina. And this brings me to the Carolina Panthers again, who I think would be a good suitor for Keldrick Falk in this situation. They trade down, they get their guy still uh in Maui Noah, and Keldrick Falk is still there for the taking. I think he's a good edge prospect. He's just not a good pass rusher right now. He is very good in the run game. He sets a good edge. I think that he could be that guy for the waning Arizona Cardinals defense to where they could get back on track. And then here at 21 for the Steelers, there's a lot of different ways they could go here. They're looking at right tackle. So in my opinion, I think that this is where the secondary tackle run starts with Caleb Lomu right here. Uh, no. I would rather them go with Blake Miller here at offensive tackle. That would be their pick for me, and I think that Blake Miller is an amazing right tackle prospect. They could go with Lomu, but they already have a left tackle. I think Blake Miller makes all the sense here. And then for the Chargers, I think the same about Caden Proctor. Caden Proctor makes all the sense for the Chargers coming into the year. They have a lot of issues with their tackles being injured, but Caden Proctor is one of those players to where I think he's going to project better as a guard with his foot movements issues. So I think that the smart thing here is to take Caden Proctor, shore up the interior of that offensive line, and then if there is an injury, he can move out to the outside if you need him to. So that's a big upside. And then we get to the Eagles at 23. The most Howie pick I can think of right now is Mr. TJ Parker. There he goes. TJ Parker, I think that that's a very Howie pick. Shore up the trenches and get a guy who is developmental but very high upside, and he's very athletic. So I think that it would be great for him to go to the Eagles, who they can develop good pass rushers. And again, it's a very Howie pick. And here for the Browns, there's a lot going on here, but I'll go tackle with Caleb Lomu. You get a lot of weapons for your young quarterback, Shadur Sanders. You get a tackle, you get a receiver. Give him that chance this year. And then next year, if it doesn't work out, you can go and get quarterback next year. It's a loaded class next year in all regards. So I would expect them to at least give Shadur this chance. So yeah, that's where I'm gonna go with for them. The Bears, I want them to take tackle or edge. I think that it makes all the sense that they would go edge, and it would make even more sense that they go one younger than Akeem Mesidor in this guy. Cassius Howell. Cassius Howell to me is probably one of the more slept on first round prospects. I think that he is going to be a good pass rusher in the league. I think that he very well may make it into the first round. When it gets to the back half of this first round, it just makes it to where, like, we don't know what's going to happen anymore. The top 10 picks, you get an idea, but here it's starting to get to where, like, what's the difference between the 25th player and the 50th player, yeah, on the board? So you start to wonder, and then you get here with the Bills, and I want to get another receiver off the board here. Um, and to me, the one that makes the most sense for the Bills is Casey Concepcion. He is exactly what Josh Allen needs in this offense right now, honestly. They just need to get him some playmakers. Yeah, it would be great for them to go out and get Casey Concepcion. And here for the 49ers, we have Edge. I think that you get Akeem Mesidor. I think you're in a win now mode if you're the 49ers, and you would prefer that you get a very polished player coming out of this draft to help you with this Super Bowl push. And as a Bryce Huff retired, Akeem Mesidor is ready to step in right away, and I think that would be a great spot for them. In 28 here, what would be happening at 28 for the Texans? I think this is a good spot for. I've said it before. I'll say it again. Emmanuel Pregnon. I think that he is the second best guard in this class, and he's just one of those players where you can reach for him and feel good about it in a couple of years when you have an all-pro starter on your line. So yeah, I think that Emmanuel Pregnon can be a really good guard for them, and it makes all the sense. And here for the Chiefs, another one that makes all the sense, I think it's Avion Terrell. Avion Terrell is my favorite personal draft pick in this class, and I think that it makes all the sense that they get him after losing Trent McDuffie and Jalen Watson to free agency and trading. So yeah, Avion Terrell will be my pick here at 29. 30, the Miami Dolphins. This could be a trade spot, and I think I'm gonna make it a trade spot, and it's gonna be a team trading up to make their third first round pick of the night, and that's going to be the Arizona Cardinals. I think that it makes all the sense for them to trade up from 34, give up maybe 183, maybe 143. I don't know exactly what the trade chart looks like, but I think it would make sense for them to trade up 4 spots to get the 5th-year option for their quarterback of the future, Ty Simpson. Yeah, it makes some more sense to just trade up now and stop another team like maybe Pittsburgh from trading up with 31 or 32 in order to get him. And I think it makes all the sense for the Cardinals, especially with how Jacoby Brissett has been acting up. So here at 31 for the Patriots, They could go a number of different directions here, but I think I'm going to have them reach a bit for a wide receiver in Denzel Boston. I don't like Denzel Boston as a player, but I think it makes all the sense for them to go and get a wide receiver for Drake May. It just makes the most sense right now. And here for the Seahawks, I think Colton Hood is the best play. After letting Tariq Woolen go, I think that it would make the most sense. So yeah, uh, that's going to be my mock draft here for 2026. That is my full trades mock draft, so that's what I think is going to happen. And I'm hoping for 5 correct picks throughout this. So yeah, don't forget to like and subscribe. When you like, there will be a football icon that shows up when you do so. And I will be live for the NFL draft. I will be here reacting to each pick, and I would love to see you all stop by and say hey and give your analysis on what's going on. So yeah, I would love to see you all there. It's gonna be such a fun night. Thank you all for tuning in, and as always, go Lions.